Welcome to the City of Pinellas Parks City Council meeting. Our city offers superior parks, premium recreational services, exceptional public safety resources, optimal investment opportunities, and more. Our mayor and city council welcomes you to tonight's meeting.
Good evening. It is Thursday, May 8th, 6 p.m. We're calling to order our city council meeting. We will have an invocation and pledge of allegiance. And I lost my papers. Here we go. The invocation this evening will be given by the pastor at Community Bible Baptist Church, Mr. Clint. Please rise if you wish.
Let's open in a word of prayer this evening.
Dear God in heaven, as we come before you this evening, we're grateful for the opportunity to bring our petitions and requests before you. Lord, we live in a tremendous state and a tremendous county and a tremendous city here in Pinellas Park. Lord, we thank you for the men and women in uniform that you've allowed us to have watching over us here. Lord, may you watch over them as well. Lord, we thank you for this council that gives of their time and talents, Lord, to put this city in order and, Lord, meet the people's needs here. Lord, may you grant them the wisdom and the resources that they need to do so, to act in the people's best interests. Lord, we pray your hand on this meeting this evening. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Clint.
Can I have the police department and their wonderful volunteers come forward? Whereas volunteers reflect the highest value of our society and reap the rewards that come with giving aid to others while broadening their horizons. Whereas our volunteers demonstrate that it is possible to bring people together in response to our community's critical needs. And whereas it is the duty of every citizen and leader to honor our volunteers and celebrate their contributions to the quality of life in Pinellas Park. Now, therefore, I, Sandra Lee Bradbury, Mayor of the City of Pinellas Park, Florida, and on behalf of the entire City Council, do hereby proclaim the weeks of April the 27th through May 3rd of 2025 as Pinellas Park's Police Volunteer Appreciation Week, and urge our citizens to join me in recognizing the important roles of our volunteers that they play in our community as we celebrate these special days. In witness, I set my hand and cause the seal of the City of Pinellas Park, Florida to be fixed on the 8th day of May of 2025. And I would like to turn this over to the chief so that he can talk about all of these young men and women and our volunteers.
Thank you very much. Let me sneak out. Come the short one in the back. You can see there's a check here representing almost 2,400 hours of service to the city. It's been said, I don't remember who said it, but never judge the value or never question the value of a volunteer. Noah's Ark was built by volunteers and the Titanic was built by professionals. These folks are absolutely the epitome of that, and they make us as great as we are every single day. So please, if you would, join me in thanking them for their service.
Where Adam go?
I see you. Barry. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you. So your other crew to come up now? Whereas there are more than 800,000 law enforcement officers serving in communities across the United States. Since the first recorded death in 1776, there are currently 26,948 law enforcement officers in the United States that have made the ultimate sacrifice and have been killed in the line of duty. The names of these dedicated public servants are engraved on walls in the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial in Washington, D.C. And whereas the service and sacrifice of all officers killed in the line of duty will be honored during National Law Enforcement Officer Memorial Fund's 37th Candlelight Vigil on the evening of May 13th of 2025. And whereas May 15th is designated as Peace Officer Memorial Day in honor of all of the fallen officers and their families, and the U.S. flag should be flown at half-staff. Now, therefore, I, Sandra Lee Bradbury, Mayor of the City of Pinellas Park, Florida, and on behalf of the entire City Council, do hereby proclaim May 11th through the 17th of 2025 as National Police Week. And we encourage the public to salute the service of law enforcement officers in our community and in communities across the nation. And witness, I set my hand and cause the seal of the City of Pinellas Park, Florida to be affixed on the 8th day of May of 2025. And I'm going to hand this over to them and hand the mic to you.
Again, Mayor and Council, Mr. Diebold, thank you very much. This is a noble profession, and we have the honor of serving this community day in and day out. Some days are harder than others, but we do get the enjoyment and satisfaction of the service that we give to this community. Our folks come to work every day doing the job they love for a community that loves us back, and we feel that every single day. We're extremely grateful and blessed to have the support of the leadership of the city, and we'll continue serving the way we do every single day. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. And my old boss came in just for this, retired Chief Michael Hayworth in the back.
Whereas there is proven connection between good mental health and overall personal health. Mental illnesses affect almost every family in America. Whereas 1 out of 2 people with a serious mental illness will seek treatment for his or her illness. And whereas the stigma and fear of this discrimination keeps many people who would benefit from mental health services from seeking the help they need. Good mental health is critical to the well-being of our families, our community, schools, and businesses. Greater public awareness about mental health issues and illnesses can change negative attitudes and behaviors towards people with mental illnesses into a positive. Now, therefore, I, Sandra Lee Bradbury, Mayor of the City of Pinellas Park, Florida, and on behalf of the entire City Council, do hereby proclaim the month of May as Mental Health Awareness Month and encourage our entire community to recommit to increasing awareness and understanding of mental illnesses, reducing the stigma and discrimination, and promoting appropriate and accessible services for all people with mental illness. And witness, I set my hand and cause the seal of the City of Pinellas Park, Florida, to be affixed on the 8th day of May of 2025. And I'm going to hand it over to LaSharon and Nami to talk about some of the upcoming events we have to encourage people.
So as a city representative, it's always good to be able to partner with the NAMI team. Like the mayor said, mental illness really do affect everyone. And after serving 23 years in the military, I did get a chance to see that firsthand. So it's always good to have a community and have a support team that supports us and supports the initiatives that we do for the city. And so the HR team was really great. We put a lot of classes on for this entire month of May. We have everybody wearing green shirts. Even Dan is out of uniform today. He decided to say, yes, I'm going to do it. And so he's wearing a Be Kind to Your Mind t-shirt just for awareness. So as you see someone, it's really okay not to be okay. And every day, you know, we don't have to walk around with a smile on our face or whatever. So it is really okay not to be okay. And so Camilla is going to kind of tell us more about, we have this huge walk that's coming up on the 17th. But Camille is going to give us more.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. We at NAMI Pinellas County are so thankful for the partnership that we have had the privilege to build with the City of Pinellas Park. It's really more than just we are an organization that are hosting an event and the venue happens to be in this beautiful city. It's truly a partnership, and we are extremely grateful for all the support that we've received. As you said, support is actually a key component of recovery. And for anybody who has been affected by a mental illness, who knows someone, cares for a loved one that has a mental illness or a diagnosis, they will agree with this. Support is a huge part of being able to recover. And for us, it's about giving people in the community hope that recovery is possible. And the way that we show them that exact sentiment is by hosting a large community event called NAMI Walks Pinellas County, and it'll be on Saturday, May 17th at England Brothers Park in Pinellas Park. We are excited to host this community gathering for really anybody who wants to be part of the movement. It's not just a walk, it's truly a representation of a community that can come together to support the folks that need it most. It is a fundraiser for us. As a non-for-profit organization, we are responsible for fundraising, a large part of our budget. And those proceeds are going to go towards keeping our services free. Our services educate, support, and advocates for folks and families that have been impacted by mental health. And so we really appreciate your support. Whether you come and walk with us, it's completely free to register. You volunteer your time or you donate $1 or $100. No amount is too small. We really appreciate all the support and the recognition from the City of Pinellas Park. And we hope to see you on May 17th right at England Brothers Park for NAMI Walks. Thank you.
We have a lot going on during the month of May. Whereas emergency and medical services are a vital public service with EMS team members providing life-saving care 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And whereas access to quality emergency care significantly improves the survival and recovery rates of individuals experiencing sudden illnesses or injuries. And the comprehensive EMS system consists of dedicated physicians, nurses, paramedics, emergency medical technicians, and firefighters, among the other vital professions. EMS professionals undergo thousands of hours of rigorous specialized training and continuing education to maintain and enhance their life-saving skills and readiness. And whereas it is important to recognize and honor the dedication, the value, and the life-saving contributions of these essential EMS providers by designating a special week to celebrate their accomplishments. Now, therefore, I, Sandra Lee Bradbury, Mayor of the City of Pinellas Park, Florida, and on behalf of the entire City Council, do hereby proclaim May 18th to the 24th of 2025 as Emergency Medical Service Week in the City of Pinellas Park, and urge all of the citizens to join in recognition of the invaluable role that our EMS professionals serve within our community. In witness, I set my hand and cause the seal of the City of Pinellas Park, Florida, to be affixed on the 8th day of May of 2025. And I am handing this to Chief Hughes and also the mic, so that you can talk about some of our wonderful employees.
Yes. So once again, we want to say thank you to the city for recognizing our EMS personnel, fire personnel for National EMS Week. As many of you guys know, we're dual certified as firefighter EMTs or firefighter paramedics, and roughly 88% of the calls that we respond to are EMS-related medical calls. I've said it before and I'll say it again. The city demands a lot out of us. We run a lot of calls. We run a lot of serious calls, and we've got the best of the best. We punch above our weight class, and we've got the finest out there. So your love and support is not only known, it's felt, and for that we're truly grateful for the city.
And along with that, they always volunteer to do other things as well. The City of Pinellas Park, Florida is committed to ensuring the safety of all the residents and visitors. And swimming and aquatic-related activities play a vital role in promoting good physical and mental health and enhancing the quality of life for all Floridians and visitors. And whereas, according to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, unintentional drownings is a leading cause of death, with an average of more than 10 people dying in an unintentional drowning each day in the United States, and with children under the age of 14 and under accounting for about 1 in 5 of these deaths. Whereas basic water safety measures are critical and include ensuring children are always supervised by a responsible adult, installing barriers such as fences around bodies of water to prevent unsupervised access by children and vulnerable adults, providing children with swimming lessons at an appropriate age, and encouraging everyone, especially caregivers, to learn CPR and have access to safety equipment such as life jackets and emergency flotation devices. Now, therefore, I, Sandra Lee Bradbury, Mayor of the City of Pinellas Park, Florida, and on behalf of the entire City Council, do hereby proclaim May of 2025 as Water Safety Month in the City of Pinellas Park, and encourage all citizens and businesses to join in promoting water safety and providing education on the prevention of recreational water-related injuries, illnesses, and fatalities. In witness, I set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Pinellas Park, Florida, to be affixed on this 8th day of May of 2025. And I'm turning the mic over to you again.
So once again, we all know summer is about to kick off, and we're starting to enjoy pool time activities. We just want to remind everybody to be safe out there, watch over your children. We just finished up our annual pediatric drowning training we do every year. Thank you to Heidi and her team for letting us use Skyview Pool. And if the unfortunate happens, our men and women are ready to respond. There's a lot of city events and activities out there with Every Child a Swimmer and the Kiwanis. So we ask that you get involved, teach your children how to swim, and just have a healthy and safe summer.
Good evening. If I could have Justin from 4 Innovations come and join us up here, please. This evening, I would like to recognize 4 Innovations, who has been a part of the Pinellas Park business community since 2015, specializing in the manufacturing of high-performance fuel systems for the motorsports industry. Over the years, they have been a dedicated supporter of the Pinellas Park Shop with a Cop program, contributing more than $20,000 in donations. In 2024 alone, they made the single largest donation to date of $9,000. Thanks to their generosity, over 60 children in our community received holiday gifts and experienced the joy of Christmas. On behalf of the City of Pinellas Park, we are honored to present this award to Justin Four in recognition of 4 Innovations' outstanding commitment and support to our community.
Yeah, no.
Thanks, Justin.
Good evening, everyone. We have a short but very special presentation. Could I have the farm team up here, please? And could I have our special visitors, our families from the farm, come up as well?
Come on, guys.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. My name is Janice, and this is Cassie, and we work at the Patty Johnson Farm. And first, we want to thank council and everybody in the city for allowing us the ability to do something we love with both the animals and the land. These little guys here are part of our Green Thumbs and Training Program. It's for children 3 to 5 years old. They come bi-weekly, where they get hands-on gardening experience with learning how to be a seed, a cloud, weeds, different things they learn how to grow plants. So we do have baskets for the 11 that you told us about, with different things that we've grown at the farm in our garden that the kids have helped us with. We have Aiden, Ellie, and May. Can you guys say
Hi.
hi? Did one of your parents want to come up and talk? Or they may not.
Worldwide TV right now.
I just wanted to say that we really enjoyed this program. We hope that we can do it longer. It's been a lot of fun. My son has loved every single program, every class. He looks forward to going, and we really appreciate it. And all the staff is very friendly. We love seeing Wade, the big cat. He's pretty cool.
The weekly farm visits have been a huge highlight for our family. It's really fun to see some city kids running around with some chickens and getting their hands dirty. And you can see how bad these kids need to be outside, trying to sit quiet in a small room. So we really appreciate all the support that you've been giving to the farm so we can have such a wonderful program for them to come enjoy.
I guess I got it. I got one.
Thank you.
Oh, I got
That's a great opportunity.
lots of goodies in there. Eggs, tomatoes, green beans or peas.
Boy, this is going to be a tough act to beat, but we sure are going to try. Hello, everyone. Tonight, we're honored to celebrate some incredible individuals, and these scholarship awards that we're going to give out tonight are made possible through the Public Service Education Foundation. That's proudly funded through City of Pinellas Park employees' payroll deductions and personal donations. The Public Service Education Foundation Board consists of Mike Hayworth, Kelly Gilmore, killing me, what is your last name? Will Herbert, myself, Jillian Rose, Caitlin May, Kelly Schrader, and Bart the Bold. And the scholarship program is dedicated to supporting high school seniors who have demonstrated a strong interest in public service and a future career. Whether they choose an accredited college or vocational school, our goal is to help them make that next step. We want to extend the deepest thank you to everyone who contributes to making this program possible. Your support is really changing lives. A very special thank you goes to our scholarship judges. We have Kyle Arison, Brian Hensler, Amanda May, Amanda Ergler, James King, and Mike Owenby. These guys have a very tough job. They have to pick only so many scholarships out of a whole bundle of people. And tonight we're honored to introduce you to these individuals. The applicants are scored based on their GPA, academic achievements, community service, and their dedication to public service. The judges are given to them. They have no idea who these kids are. All of their identifiers are removed, and they're based only on the topics that I just provided to you. So it's with great honor and pride that we introduce to you the Public Service Education Foundation scholarship winners for 2024 and 2025 school year. Can I have Mr. Jackson Cooper up to the stage, please? You're going to stand on this side. There you go. Yep. So Jackson Cooper attends Pinellas Park High School, and he's going to be attending St. Petersburg College to become a fire medic and dreams of becoming a fire lieutenant. Recently, Jackson won First Responder of the Year at Pinellas Park High School, and he competes in varsity wrestling and varsity golf. And we are, go ahead. I brought him over. Do you want to tell our city manager where you're going to be working at this Sunday?
This Sunday I do have a clinical at Pinellas Park. So.
Mr. Jackson, would you like to say something?
Yeah. First off, I'd like to thank the city of Pinellas Park for allowing me to get this scholarship. It means a lot to me. It's going to help me make that big step to becoming what I want to be. And I hope I can do my best to protect my community. Thank you, guys.
So tonight, Jackson will be awarded $2,500. And Jackson, would you like to invite your family up to have a picture? Come on up, family. Congratulations. Next up, can I have Miss Kendall Butcher? Hi, Kendall. Kendall currently attends Hollins High School, and she's going to be going to the University of Florida to obtain a degree in criminology and psychology, and would like to work for the FBI and become a lawyer one day. Kendall is highly involved in the community, including being on the Barbara S. Pons Teen Advisory Board as Vice President, and she is also a Skills USA President. Let's give a big round of applause for Kendall.
I just wanted to take a second to thank everyone that played a huge role in getting me this scholarship tonight, especially the judge panel. Thank you so much. Public service is something that means everything to me, and I wholeheartedly enjoy every single thing that I do, and I'm more than happy to give back to my community in any way I can because you guys have all given me so much. So thank you once again.
Would Kendall's family like to come up? Congratulations. All right, next up, I have Mariah Willard. Miss Mariah currently attends Pinellas Park High School, and she'll be attending the University of South Florida to major in criminology and then also go to law school to obtain a law degree. Mariah is a member of the National Honor Society and the National English Honor Society. Congratulations, Mariah.
I just want to say thank you to everyone who provided me this opportunity, especially my dad and my sister, for letting me do things that I wouldn't be able to do without them.
Would you guys like to come up?
Great job, Mariah. And then not here with us tonight is Caitlin Din, who had an award ceremony at her school tonight that she couldn't miss. Caitlin attends Northeast High School, and she'll be attending the University of South Florida and is seeking a degree in accounting to become a certified public accountant. Caitlin's a member of the National Honor Society and a volunteer math tutor, and she also volunteers as an assistant teacher at the Vietnamese Evangelical Church. Let's give a big round of applause for Caitlin.
Along with our scholarships that we just gave away, we also shepherd over our Korean War Veteran Scholarship Foundation. So what we do is we award 2 scholarships to 2 deserving students in memory of those that fought and died during the Korean War conflict. Now, this particular scholarship was started by members of our Korean War veteran Chapter 14. As you would expect, a lot of them are dying off. Our latest Korean War veteran, Gardner Harshman, who was an absolute pillar for this particular scholarship, passed on last year. And so why that's so important is that as these scholarships would come in, they were the ones that were reading them. And the purpose of this scholarship is for those students to keep this particular war alive, right? So we don't forget them. We never forget them. And so they created this scholarship. Up until last year, it was a $1,500 scholarship. In honor of Gardner this year, we have increased it to $2,500. That is due to the generosity of council in providing that scholarship money, the employees that contribute, and certainly Will Herbert, who is just absolutely a fantastic fundraiser. As a matter of fact, my guess is before we leave tonight, he's going to tell you about a pickleball tournament coming up at the end of the month. We also need to tell you how many kids actually write scholarships, applications for this, and it was over 160 this year. And so whittling that number down, we'd like to thank Tracy Schofield for doing that. He kind of went through a lot of them and whittled it down, got it down to a manageable level. And we need to thank LaSharon Hampton, Felix Fred, Susan Carvello, and Harry Behar from the police department, who actually then navigated through the scholarships, read them, and scored them. So on behalf of our group here, I'd like to say thank you for that. And then I'll turn it over to Jillian for the presentations.
All right, Ms. Mahalia McCarlos. Mahalia goes to Tarpon Springs High School, and she's going to be attending the University of Florida. And she's going to study political science and plans to also go to law school. Lots of lawyers and going on today, and plans to become an attorney. She was also the 2025 St. Nicholas Tarpon Springs Dove Bearer. Awesome. And the National History Day mentor and volunteer. Let's give Mahalia a big congratulations.
I just want to thank everyone. This will be a great opportunity to further my education. As you know, law school is going to take a really long time. I also want to take a moment for us to remember everyone who has fought for our country and to keep their memory alive always.
Awesome. Do you guys want to come up and join us? And then also not attending with us tonight due to an award ceremony at the school is Miss Dixie Lee McCoon Carroll. She attends Pinellas Park High School, and she'll be attending University of South Florida to obtain a degree in finance and dreams to become a financial analyst. Dixie volunteers at her school Key Club and the Law Honor Society. She also loves reading and crocheting, and let's give a big round of applause to Miss Dixie.
Saturday, May 31st, we'll have a pickleball tournament to benefit PCEF at the new Pine Brook Park. Beautiful park, well done. Thanks to the city and council for putting that park out there so we can raise some money, give some more scholarships. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you could also give a big round of applause to Miss Caitlin Killian. She is unfortunately going to be leaving us. We all denied the request, but she said she's going to be going anyways. But she's been a tremendous part of this team, and she will be missed very much. Yes, and Miss Harper and did they go outside? Oh, okay. Well, thank you guys so much.
For those of you who don't know me, I was actually a fire explorer for 4 years, and I was lucky to work for the fire department for about 4 years. I now work for a company that actually supports local law enforcement called Flock Safety. But throughout my time of development, I've gained lots of experience and lifelong friends, and I was actually given lots of scholarships to be able to do stuff myself. So the last couple of years being on the board has meant the world to me, and being able to give to these kids what I once was given is incredible. And I hope that these scholarships can continue to fund these kids and their futures and careers, because you never know where it's going to take you, and it's taken me to North Carolina. So thank you guys for all you guys do for the community, including council and everybody. I've been very blessed. So thank you.
Okay, we did have a lot of presentations, but I hope everybody thinks that they were just as important as the city council agenda that we're going to be going over. I think they were, especially the young men and women that volunteer and that are going to be our future. At this time, we open it up to any citizens who would like to come up and speak on anything that is not on the agenda this evening. Seeing none, I will move on to any city citizens or businesses, as well as city staff that is going to be speaking on our quasi-judicial items this evening. Please stand up and be sworn in.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to section 2, approval of minutes. Councilmember Butler.
Thank you, Mayor. Make a motion we approve regular council minutes of the April 10th, 2025 meeting as on file in the city clerk's office.
Second.
Motion has been made and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And we're also voting on these pads now too. There we go.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. We normally move on to section 3, public hearings, but in light of our long agenda thus far, I'm asking that City Council give us the opportunity to bring section 5, regular agenda item R1 forward. And this would be the receipt of the 2023-2024 financial audit.
Madam Mayor, if I may, while Lauren's making her way up there. Kelly Schrader, Finance Administrator. So I'd just like to point out just a couple of things on our book this year, that the city's financial position continues to hold strong, with the total net position increasing by $19 million, or 6.7% over the previous year. This indicates that a general trend of financial stability and growth. And also, the city's governmental funds have a combined ending fund balance of just over $116 million, which is a substantial increase of 16.7% from the prior year, which demonstrates our ability to meet the city's financial obligations. And then I'd like to take a moment just to recognize a few of the employees in the accounting department that have come here tonight. I've got Joy Yates, Leanne Sweeney, and Shannon Connor. And we did receive the award again for last year's book, so it's 41 years in a row that I'd just like to recognize for all their hard work here.
Now for the most exciting part of the evening. I'm kidding, but my name is Lauren Strope, and I served as your audit partner this year. I'm pleased to go over the results of the audit with you this evening. Here's the agenda of what we're going to cover, but we'll go ahead and we'll jump right into it. So this is your client service team, the direct members on it. It's not just me, but there's a whole group of folks that work on the audit. In addition to the senior staff and manager, we do have Scott Anderson, who serves as our second partner review. He does what's referred to in my industry as a cold review, meaning after me and my team complete our work, he goes in and double checks everything. He actually served on the GASB, who are the standard setters, my goodness, say that 5 times fast, for the financial statements that you have. So everybody's favorite slide, the results of the audit. So we did complete our audit of your September 30th, 2024 financial statements, and we did render our opinion on March 28th. We rendered an unmodified opinion. It used to be unqualified. It sounds kind of weird, but essentially it's a clean opinion. It's the highest level of assurance that we as your external auditor can provide. It's the only type of opinion that you want. We also issued a report on compliance with your federal grants, and we'll go into that in just a few minutes. So just some internal control communication. One of the standards that we follow when we complete your audit are government auditing standards, and those do require us to kind of take a deep dive into your internal controls over financial reporting. If during that time we become aware of any sort of significant deficiency or material weakness in those internal controls, I would be required to communicate that to you. So what is a material weakness? A material weakness is essentially a deficiency or a combination of deficiencies such that there's a reasonable probability of a material misstatement happening in your financial statements. A significant deficiency is the exact same situation, only it's less severe than a material weakness. During our audit, we did discover one material weakness. It did have to do with revenue recognition in the water and sewer fund. That had to do with a meter that was reading incorrectly. So this revenue actually had to do with the prior period, and thus your financial statements were restated by about $2 million in order to reflect that. We also noted one significant deficiency in internal control, and that had to do in the internal service fund. Had to do with your insurance, self-insurance claims payable, which is based on an actuarial report. When management recorded it, they accidentally took the 9/30/2025 number and recorded that in the 2024 financial statements. That was also corrected. And finally, just an other control recommendation, we do have to follow Chapter 10.550 Rules of the Auditor General of the State of Florida when we complete your audit. And one of those factors is to check budgetary compliance. We did know a very small, less than $2,000 overages that we did have to report. So that is an under control recommendation, so not a material weakness or significant deficiency. And that one is disclosed in your management letter. I promised we'd get to the single audit. So you did have a single audit this year. You spent more than $750,000 of those federal funds triggering that audit. We did test 2 programs. So with that, there are up to 14 different compliance requirements that the federal government has us test. And we look at both compliance with those requirements and the internal controls that management have over that compliance. We're pleased to report that we have issued a no comment report on that, meaning we did not find any issues in internal control, in compliance or internal control over that compliance. So a clean report there. Professional standards do require that I communicate to you any sort of corrected or uncorrected misstatement. Essentially what that is if management gives us the trial balance and they're all done with all of their checks and balances, if we as the auditor have to make adjustments to that in order to bring the financial statements in alignment with GAAP or generally accepted accounting principles, that would be an audit adjustment. The first one had to do with that prior period adjustment. Management did make us aware of that. But because it was a prior period adjustment, it appears as a corrected misstatement here. The second one had to do with that self-insurance claim. where the incorrect amount was taken from the actuarial report. We are pleased to report that there were no uncorrected misstatements. That's the exact same situation, only for whatever reason management says we're not going to make that particular entry. I'd just be required to communicate that to you. Some of the qualitative aspects of accounting practices, if you're like me and you're really into accounting, all of your accounting policies are disclosed in footnote 1 to your financial statements. There were no new accounting policies adopted in the current year. As far as related party relationships and transactions are concerned, we did not know any that management did not already make us aware of when we completed our audit. And all of those types of relationships and transactions are appropriately disclosed in your financial statements. As far as significant or unusual transactions are concerned, that's very particular to every entity. The city did not have any significant or unusual transactions during 2024 that I need to disclose to you today. The financial statements are not all just hard numbers. If they were, my job would be very, very easy. But there's a lot of significant estimates and judgments that management has to make just to comply and to be able to produce GAAP financials. As you can imagine, me and my team spend a lot of time looking at those estimates and judgments to make sure that they're fair and in line with the financial statements as a whole. Things like your pension, your OPEB, and your self-insurance liabilities are based on actuarial reports. So we look at all the assumptions, including discount rate, that go into crafting those. You have estimates related to your lease receivables and lease payables. You have estimates related to your compensated absences liability, those related to your allowance for doubtful accounts, the estimate of the depreciable lives of your capital assets, which impacts your depreciation expense, the estimate of the fair value of your investments, and then the estimate of that claims payable liability. I am pleased to report that we did find all of those estimates to be fair in relation to the financials as a whole, which is the accountant's way of saying that it was clean. All right. We are pleased to report that the financial statements are neutral, consistent, and clear for the reader. As your independent auditor, it is very important that we are independent of the city. We are in both fact and appearance. We do provide one non-attest service, and what non-attest means is just non-audit, and that is the completion of the auditor section of the data collection form. That is required because you have those federal grants. But again, we are completely independent of the city. Just some other fun required communications, because the standard setters love to have me communicate. There were no difficulties encountered when working with management, and we did not have any disagreements with them. Every year, they're a pleasure to work with. They make sure that we get what we need. Anytime we have a question, we get an answer. Anytime we need support, they make sure that it's provided. I did not have to consult with those outside of my engagement team in order to complete this engagement. We did receive a management representation letter that was dated the same day of the report, and basically it says that everything that was told to us or provided to us during the course of the audit was true to the best of management's knowledge and belief. Bear with me, I promise we're close. From time to time, management might choose to consult with others as it relates to accounting treatment. We just want to make sure that both us and the other accountants got the same set of information to hopefully get to that same conclusion. Every year, we as Cherry Bekaert have to go through a variety of things on each client in order to accept it. There was nothing that was that bubbled up to the surface related to that I need to discuss with the city, which is a good thing. We do not audit specifically for fraud or illegal acts, but we very much have awareness of that as we complete our audit engagement. We do things like test journal entries to ensure that there was a reason behind making them. We discuss fraud or illegal acts with those throughout the audit engagement and with a member of council. Nothing was brought to our attention during those conversations. Had something been brought to our attention, we would have worked in procedures in order to address that risk. There are no conditions or events that make us question the city's ability to continue as a going concern entity. A couple other matters. The financial statements, they're very large. So the basic financial statements is what we have provided our opinion on. You also have required supplementary information, including your MD&A, pension schedules, and OPEB schedules. Then you have supplementary information, which represents your CFA or your schedule of expenditures of federal awards. And finally, other information. With the RSI and SI, what we do is called an in relation to opinion. So we, as the auditor, get an understanding from management of how those schedules are created and ensure they tie back to the audited information whenever they should. The other information is your introductory section and your statistical section. There's a lot of non-auditable information in there, so we do not provide an opinion on that. And just some upcoming financial reporting changes. The one that will impact you shall be GASB 101 and then GASB 104. We will definitely be working with management to ensure you're ready to hit the ground running with that. What GASB 101 does is just kind of expands and brings everyone to apples with how it is that compensated absences are accounted for and disclosed in the financial statements. And with that, I am happy to answer any questions that you might have.
City Council have any questions? Is there anybody in the audience that has any questions about this item? Thank you very much. May I have a motion by City Council, Councilmember Butler?
Thank you, Mayor. Make a motion that we approve the 2023-24 financial statement and auditor's report as presented by Trey Beckart LLP.
Second.
Motion has been made and second. All those in favor, push your buttons.
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion carries unanimously.
Now moving back to our public hearing, section 3, item P1, ordinance number 2025-14.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is ordinance number 2025-14, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Pinellas Park, Pinellas County, Florida, amending the Code of Ordinances by amending Chapter 18, Land Development Code, amending Section 18-702.4, mandatory requirements for construction of sidewalks, providing for the inclusion of such amended ordinance in the Code of the City of Pinellas Park, Florida, providing for repeal of ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith to the extent of such conflict, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. This has been a second and final reading of ordinance number 2025-14 by title only.
Thank you. At this time, I will turn it over to Mr. Todd.
Thank you, Mayor. My name is Todd Byron. I'm a planning coordinator for the city, and I will be presenting item P1, which is LDC 122500006. So the request for today is to amend section 18-702.4 mandatory requirements for construction of sidewalks by including a preferred setback and adding a reimbursement process for secondary fees for certain residential sidewalk waivers under specific circumstances. Here are some proposed changes. So as I mentioned, we're adding that 5-foot preferred setback for the sidewalks. This can be adjusted by the Public Works Administrator when necessary due to inadequate right-of-way or if there are utility or tree conflicts. Some further changes, the reimbursement of secondary fees for residential sidewalk waivers if the base administrative fee has been paid, if the property has a primary use of single-family detached or duplex dwelling, and if the property is the homestead of the property owner. The Public Works Administrator and the Community Development Administrator or their designees must also approve this reimbursement. The calculation of these secondary fees is basically the sidewalk length times width times the current FDOT item average cost for 6-inch reinforced concrete in the Pinellas market area. And back in March, the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval of this case, and I am here if you have any questions.
Vice Mayor Seville.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So what you're saying, all the sidewalks are going to be 6 inches deep, not the typical 4 inches deep?
I believe it's a current requirement.
Is it?
I believe so. I need to defer to Public Works on that. I believe it's 6 inches.
I couldn't hear you, sorry.
6 inches for sidewalks?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Those are DOT requirements as well.
Todd, I do have one question as well. This is for any future developments, not if the
Correct.
person doesn't have a sidewalk in front of their house now.
Correct. Yeah, it would be for any, like if somebody wanted to rebuild their house and it's an older parcel and there was no sidewalk, they could request this waiver. Well, they could request a waiver and this reimbursement of the fees. So it's, yeah, for any new developments, correct.
Thank you. Is there anybody in the audience that has any questions on item P1? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing at its second and final reading and entertain a motion by City Council. Councilmember Butler.
I make a motion we pass ordinance number 202514, public hearing. I'm sorry, I'm going to start over again because I messed that number up. I'm sorry. Holy cow. Mayor, I make a motion we pass ordinance number 2025-14, public hearing, second and final reading.
Motion has been made and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
If there's any opposed?
Motion carried unanimously.
Thank you. Moving on to item P2, conditional use.
This is a conditional use approval for a drive-in, drive-through restaurant in the heavy commercial zoning district. The applicant is represented by Lauren Rubenstein and Eli Payne, and this is the public hearing and a first and final reading. This is a quasi-judicial hearing. May I remind you, in a quasi-judicial hearing, you are no longer making the law, but applying the law as established in your code to the competent substantial evidence presented this evening.
Thank you. Item P2, conditional use, public hearing, first and final reading. This is quasi-judicial. I'm opening the public hearing and turning it over to Todd.
Thank you, Mayor. Once again, my name is Todd Byron, planning coordinator with the city, and I'll be presenting item P2, which is case number CU-0125-00005. This request is for conditional use approval for a restaurant, drive-in, drive-through in the heavy commercial CH zoning district. And here is an aerial map of the site. It's at the corner of Park Boulevard and Belcher Road. Here's a land use map showing the land use designation, which is commercial general CG. And here is a zoning map showing the current zoning, which is heavy commercial CH. Here is the flood insurance rate map, which shows that the entire parcel is in the X shaded flood zone. Here is a relatively recent photo of the site. And just a quick summary. So the applicant is requesting approval for a restaurant, drive-in, drive-through, which is a conditional use in the CH zoning district. One important distinction about this restaurant is that while it has a drive-through, it's only going to be for mobile pickup orders only. There will not be a speaker box. You won't be able to actually drive up and make an order, so it's pickup only. The three parcels that are on this corner are currently in the replat process, so once it's completed, there will be two parcels, one for the existing tire shop on the west side, and then one for the new restaurant, Chipotle, on the east side. The planned improvements for the site include landscaping, drainage, an extension of the south wall, parking lot improvements, improved streetscape buffers, and additional green space. Here is the proposed site plan. You can see a lot of the modifications on the eastern portion of the subject site. And the conditional use criteria. First one is review by the Planning and Zoning Commission and approval by City Council, which we are currently in progress of doing. The second item is a minimum lot area of 15,000 square feet. This requirement has been met. They must have frontage on an arterial or arterial frontage street. This requirement has been met. There is a minimum setback of 30 feet to any side property line or 25 feet to any rear property line. This requirement has also been met. And the operation of the drive-in, drive-through facility when abutting or functionally abutting a residential zoning district shall be limited to 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. This requirement is proposed to be met. And some of our findings. The proposed use is consistent with the purpose and intent of the heavy commercial CH zoning district. The proposed drive-through restaurant meets the conditional use requirements and review criteria per section 18-1531.10 of the Land Development Code. and the request is consistent with the goals, objectives, and policies of the adopted comprehensive plan and the regulations of the Land Development Code. Back in April, the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval of this case, and I'm here if you have any questions, as well as the applicant, who has a presentation as well.
City Council have any questions of Todd? I have just one real quick question, and I'm assuming that you'll be able to answer it.
I hope so.
So, that is an FDOT road. So FDOT is making them close all of the ingresses and egresses onto it and giving them one for the two parcels.
I believe so, yeah. I believe it's 4 curb cuts going down to 1, yeah.
Okay. Because I was just looking at the aerial of the tire shop. They have bigger vehicles that need more maneuverability than what's shown on this plan. So that's the reason why I was asking that question.
Right.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Between the residents and the backside of that,
Mhm.
is there a wall, current wall there?
There's a portion of a wall there.
I think
believe
it's falling down, right?
Yeah, it's going to be extended.
So there'll be another wall up there.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Vice Mayor Spill?
Yeah, where am I gonna buy my fireworks and my rope now that they're no longer gonna be there?
Yeah, I believe they've got a tent up there now, so I'd stock up.
Better get there. Okay, Lauren.
All righty, the applicant can come up and speak and address our questions as well as others, and also name and address for the record and whether you were sworn in or not.
Yes, Mayor. Thank you. Lauren Rubenstein with Hill Ward Henderson, 600 Cleveland Street, Suite 800, Clearwater, Florida, and I have been sworn in. Thank you all. So I think I'll address all of those questions in my presentation, but we can also talk about them as it comes up. So as you heard, this is a request for a drive-in, drive-through restaurant in the heavy commercial zoning district. Here is the aerial photo you were looking at earlier with that beloved firework tent. So I apologize, Vice Mayor, that you will have to go elsewhere for those fireworks if this is approved down the road. The zoning is a heavy commercial, land use, commercial general. One thing we didn't mention, I didn't hear staff mention during their presentation, is there is a current development agreement on the property. It was entered into in 2013. It does control the zoning, some proposed uses, as well as some conceptual plans. One of those plans was for a drive-in, drive-through restaurant. The plan that's before you tonight is very similar to one of the concepts that was in that development agreement. But that development agreement only allowed for the conditional use approval to extend for 3 years from 2013, and we are obviously past that. So we're back here to present the concept to you again and make sure that it meets all of your criteria. There is several waivers and variances that are also granted as part of that development agreement. A lot of those are not being utilized in this plan. This is the proposed site plan. I have provided you all with copies as well so that you have a larger version in front of you. I know that's helpful. Some of the highlights, what's proposed is a 2,373 square foot restaurant with a mobile pickup window. As staff mentioned, this is not your typical drive-through, so there is no speaker box. The only way you can utilize this mobile pickup window is if you, on the app, have already placed your order, or for those delivery drivers like Uber Eats, Grubhub, so-and-so, those individuals can go and pick up the orders without having to park and actually walk in. So it does, Chipotle has done this in other locations as well and seen a lot of success with it. It does also reduce some of the demands on parking so that the individuals that are actually going into the restaurant are the ones that are eating there. The proposed site plan does exceed your parking requirements. 27 spaces are required, 28 are proposed on this plan. And that's one of those variances, for instance, that was part of that development agreement where we could have used reduced parking, but we have not. We have met your current code. The auto shop is proposed to have 13 spaces and only 8 are required. I think maybe the most significant thing that this site plan does is it dramatically improves your traffic circulation and safety on that site. As the mayor mentioned, there's 4 existing curb cuts off of Park Boulevard right now. We have worked quite a lengthy process with Pinellas County to come up with what they believe is the best, and they have approved the access. So it will be reduced to 1 driveway off of Park Boulevard, code compliant. We also have the access on 71st. That's going to be moved a little further from the intersection, again, increasing that safety accessibility. We have provided cross access. So from that entrance that comes off of Park Boulevard, it will provide access to that auto shop. And we've actually designed it, you can see on the site plan, so that in the future, if there's ever redevelopment of the auto shop property, then they can also have a full cross-access easement in the future. So, as I know you all are aware, under your code, you have certain compatibility requirements that you must consider when you're looking at a conditional use. You have to find that, of course, it will not adversely affect the public interest, and you must consider the compatibility criteria that I've listed here for you. First and foremost, is it consistent with the established character of the immediate neighborhood? And we would submit that it is. Obviously, you're all familiar with Park Boulevard and the commercial corridor that it is, with very similar establishments nearby. You have a Starbucks with a drive-through just northwest of the property, I believe. I think there's a Zaxby's right there as well. And of course, it's worth mentioning a restaurant is a permitted use in the CH zoning district. It's just because of the drive-through feature that requires the conditional use approval. Next is whether or not it will diminish the use or enjoyment of nearby properties in the neighborhood. And again, we think that this will actually improve it. There's a lot of improvements on this site that are really, really needed. Right now, it's pretty much a paved over site. We're going to add landscaping, stormwater drainage, of course, those improvements to the access, as well as that 6-foot solid wall that'll go along the southern property line to buffer from the residential properties. Next is whether it would impede the normal and orderly development and improvement of surrounding properties. Again, we'd submit it would not. Virtually all the surrounding properties are already developed with permitted and conditional uses up and down the corridor, and this will simply continue that normal and orderly development. Next is will it be detrimental or endanger the public health, safety, comfort, general welfare? No, again, we feel it will enhance the property. It will comply with all of the applicable noise ordinances. There are restrictions on the hours of operations under the conditional use criteria for drive-throughs. They will comply with that as well. And the mobile pickup window, it is facing 71st Avenue. We went through many iterations of this site plan, and this final site plan that we landed on, it faces 71st. So any of that interaction is not towards the residential properties. The cars, their headlights will be facing out towards Park Boulevard, and there's no speaker box. So a lot of that noise that is typically a major concern should not be an issue here. Whether the land is sufficient for the use and anticipated operations and expansion thereof. The requirement, the minimum lot size for this use is 15,000 square feet. This is more than 32,000 square feet property that's proposed. And the proposed parking does exceed your required parking. Whether there's any archaeological, historical, cultural, or landscape resources, if you're familiar with this property, I think you know that's not applicable here. And finally, whether the traffic generation characteristics of the proposed use is compatible with the traffic generation characteristics of other uses permitted in the zoning district. And again, we do feel like this is very similar to what is existing up and down Park Boulevard in that corridor, and would be consistent. You do, of course, have the additional specific conditional use criteria in your code that's specific to drive-ins and drive-throughs. and staff did a great job running through that. We do believe all of these have been met, other than seeking your approval here tonight. Of course, we're in process for that, but that minimum lot area is exceeded. The frontage on the arterial and arterial frontage street and access plans being approved by the traffic division director has been met. Minimum setbacks, we greatly exceed the minimum setbacks. I believe it's just over 60 feet rear setback that we've proposed. So we really are very, very far back from those residential properties. And of course, those hours of operations, which the applicant will comply with. So with that, thank you. I do have with me tonight Brian Piccolo, who's the Vice President for Clover Investments, and as well as Eli Payne from Bayside Engineering to answer any of the more complicated questions that I cannot.
City Council have any questions of the applicant? Tim.
Not so much a question as a concern. Conditional uses are granted by council, and we determine what those conditional uses would be. And I'm just wondering if putting a conditional use on this property with a drive-through that isn't really a drive-through is going to create additional problems rather than alleviating problems, and that we should maybe save our conditional uses for when there's something that'll benefit the whole city.
Are you concerned that your residents will not use the mobile pickup window compared to a traditional drive-through? Is that
They
is
may
that
be
the
driving.
concern?
They may be driving through there anyway. They don't know there's not a speaker box until they get there.
Sure, they might be, and there is. We did design it so there is access for people to go around, as you will see. So I expect there may be there may be a few that don't understand, and they'll get up there and they'll be told they have to park and go inside.
They'll drive up to the
It's only
window and
me.
ask questions.
Ms. Rubenstein, I think you've been punked.
I know.
Councilwoman Reed.
Where the dumpster is, the only thing is maybe because that backs up to that where the houses are. I don't know. It looks like you got the wall though between it and that, but that's the only thing that's kind of next to where the people are, So
I think there's also a 5-foot landscape buffer behind
green-
the
perfect.
dumpster before you get to the wall.
The dumpster will have a separate wall as well.
Eli, if you could come up, you'll need to.
Black Canyon, 2054 Central Avenue, St. Pete. And I've
Were you
been
sworn in?
Yeah, there'll be a separate
He needs to say it,
wall
though.
around the dumpster as well.
Okay.
We should have double separation.
And you can tell them too, you might tell them daytime pickup. I have a dumpster on my property and the people, no, they come at 7
come
a.m.
at-
and somebody called and
5
complained,
o'clock in the
so,
morning sometimes too.
yeah. Because they bang them.
Mm-hmm.
So just because I have one too, so, but cool. That was it.
Just curious. When you look at like the current aerial map, there's a lot going on behind that tire shop there. So are they just kind of changing the way they're doing business? Is that?
Brian, if you want to address that, they've
I'm just
had more
curious.
conversations with the owner than I have.
Brian Piccolo, 4427 West Kennedy Boulevard, Suite 250, Tampa, Florida. I have been sworn in. The idea there is that we're taking a good portion of that space on that parcel. As you can see, where our property line there starts to dig into what they have there, so they're gonna have to clean that up a decent amount, and so it'll change the way that looks pretty drastically.
Because there's bays on that side of the building, if I'm not mistaken, or they're not.
They are, but they don't utilize them. Okay. They utilize basically everything on the other side on 71st Street.
Just quite discreet. Thank you. Yeah.
Ms. Moore?
Yes.
Now, we've been emphasizing the discussion about the food pickup. So is it actually going to be a restaurant that people will be parking at and going inside?
It's a Chipotle is what's proposed. So there'll be plenty of indoor seating as well.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. I was just asking because otherwise there was an awful lot of parking that I wouldn't think that would be needed.
Correct.
But
Correct.
it will be a sit down with the ability to
Yes.
do your order in advance and then drive to pick it up.
Exactly.
Okay. Thank you. City Council have any additional questions? Is there anybody in the audience that has any questions on item P2? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing at its first and final reading and entertain a motion by Vice Mayor Sabel.
U-0125-0005, public hearing, first and final reading.
Second.
Motion has been made and second. All those in favor, push your buttons. Any opposed, push your buttons.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. Are we ready, sir? Moving on to section 4, consent agendas, item C1.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Beginning with the consent agenda. Item C1, authorization for the City of Pinellas Park to accept a right-of-way easement from PHR Cat LLC for the property located at 6070 81st Terrace North. Item C2, Resolution 2025-05, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Pinellas Park, Pinellas County, Florida, adopting the countywide local mitigation strategy, LMS, making the local mitigation strategy serve as the city's floodplain management plan, and acknowledging participation in the Program for Public Information, PPI, repealing Resolution number 2018 in its entirety, providing for the repeal of resolutions or parts of resolutions conflicting herewith, and providing for an effective date. This is a first and final reading of Resolution number 2025-05 by title only. Item C3, request for the mayor to sign a final plat approval for the Gateway Center Less 3 Holdings replat located at parcel number 22-30-16-30374-000-0901. Item C4, request for the mayor to sign a final plat approval for Towns at Island Lake, generally located at 4210 78th Avenue North. Item C5, this is ordinance number 2025-15, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Pinellas Park, Pinellas County, Florida, repealing and replacing Article 6 of the Chapter 2 of Pinellas Park City Code regarding city procurement, making related findings and providing for severability, codification, and an effective date. This is a first reading. Item C6, authorization for the city manager to sign hold harmless agreement for the use of city Clearwater facility. Item C7, appointment to Pinellas Park Police Officers Pension Board of Trustees, Ann Wagner. Item C8, appointment to the Pinellas Park Firefighters Pension Board of Trustees, Eric Hosey. Item C9, authorization for donation, Nami Pinellas. Item C10, authorization to purchase under Sourcewell contract number 2025-091-521-NAF and 032 824 NAF 1 new 2025 Chevy Silverado 1500 crew cab pickup 4-wheel drive white 5.5-foot bed for a estimated cost of $53,151. Item C11, authorization to purchase under Sourcewell contract number 2025-091-521-NAF and 032 824 NAF 1 new 2025 Chevy Colorado crew cab pickup 2-wheel drive 131 inches with WBWT 5-foot bed 23CA. And this is for a purchase of $37,803. Item C12, authorization to purchase under Sourcewell contract number 2025-091-521-NAF and 032 824 NAF 1 new 2025 Ford F350 regular cab pickup 2-wheel drive SRW 142 inches WB XL 8-foot bed. And this is for a purchase at a cost of $64,965. Item C13, authorization to purchase under Sourcewell contract number 2025-091-521-NAF and 032 824 NAF 1 new 2025 Ford F250 regular cab pickup 2-wheel drive 142 inches WB XL 8-foot bed. And that's at a cost of $64,798. Item C14, authorization to purchase under Sourcewell contract number 2025-091-521-NAF and 032 824 NAF 1 new 2025 Chevy Silverado 1500 double cab pickup 2-wheel drive white 6.5-foot bed at a cost of $44,900. Item C15, authorization of emergency pump repair for pump number 3 at booster station number 1 located at 7301 71st Street for Electrical and Mechanical Maintenance Incorporated, and the cost not to exceed $123,000. Item C16, authorization to purchase from Pinellas Park Police Explorer Post 912 Incorporated 2024 Ford Transit passenger wagon. The cost for the vehicle is $57,642. Item C17, authorization to contract with Frontier to relocate aerial cables at Davis Commons. The total cost for this project is estimated at $68,163.07. Item C18, authorization for purchase of services under City of Tarpon Springs contract bid 240055-B-AS for Lift Station 31 pump out replacement, TLC Diversified Inc. This is the authorization in the amount of $161,533. Item C19, authorization for first and final payment for relocation of Duke Energy Power Pole at 6602 Bryan Dairy Road from Duke Energy Company. The cost for this is estimated at $38,038.71. Item C20, authorization to purchase under Florida Sheriff's Association contract FS 823-EQU 21.0 for a 303.5 Caterpillar mini excavator at an estimated cost of $59,796. Item C21 is an authorization to purchase under Florida Sheriff's Association contract FSA-23-VEH 21.0 a 2026 International MV 607 4x2 OX 10-yard dump truck at an estimated cost of $139,853. And item C22 is an authorization to purchase under Florida Sheriff's Association contract FSA-23 VEH 21.1 2026 International HV 607 6x4 OX Maverick 14-foot 12-yard dump truck at a cost of $191,132. And that concludes the items on the consent agenda, Madam Mayor.
Thank you.
That's it. That's all.
Councilwoman Reed.
Thank you. Mayor Bradbury, regarding the consent agenda, I would like to make a motion to pass, approve, or adopt whichever action is appropriate. Items C1 through C22 inclusive, with item C2 being first and final reading, and item C5 being first reading prior to public hearing. The next public hearing will be held in council chambers on Thursday, May 22nd, 2025 at 6 p.m.
Second motion.
Motion has been made in second. City Council have any questions on these items? Is there anybody in the audience that has any questions on these items? Seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
We have already gone over our regular agenda items, so at this time, it would be time for City Council and City staff to give any updates. Vice Mayor Swill.
Oh, thank you. This is an exciting night, seeing all those young people come forward, receiving the funds to continue their education. It was also great to see those explorers and the time that they donate their time to help our community. I mean, it was totally awesome. And the water safety, that's so important. You know, it's so sad to see a child or anyone lose their life because someone wasn't paying attention for that split second that it takes. Also, this past weekend, I had the ability to go up to Orlando, Wide World of Sports. And again, that gym that we have in our city, Rock Solid All-Stars cheerleading, there was over 22,000 cheerleaders at that competition, let alone all the parents and siblings and everybody else. It was a madhouse. But anyway, if Keith could correct me, I think she had 2 teams that came in first and 1 team that came in third. And what was really special with me about it was my oldest granddaughter, who's been there for 15 years cheering. She was able to win the competition with her 2 cousins, these kids. And it was just a very special moment. But Rock Solid's doing a great job in our community. They're located across from the flea market, back in the warehouses. And they're going to be looking to Nick because they're wanting to relocate to a more obvious location. So they're looking for a very huge warehouse with a better at a better location. That's all. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. We didn't do a proclamation or anything for Municipal Clerks Week.
So the mayor signed the proclamation last week for it, and it is Municipal Clerks Week. So every day this week, we've sent out a little internal message on our intranet to educate other departments in the city on Municipal Clerks Week. But we did bring Quill with us this evening. If you would all like to take a picture with him, that would be great.
Okay. Well, I just wanted, I wasn't trying to get anybody in trouble, but I just wanted to say thank you to our clerk and all our staff that do a great job keeping us straight up here. Also, just kind of ditto on National Police Week. Thank you to Chief Geisenberger and your folks for what you do. EMS Week is right around the corner, so we're just so proud of our first responders. And you know, I know I don't have what it takes to be a firefighter, but we're going to remove all doubt on Saturday at Fire Ops. So I'm looking forward to that. And then just to reiterate, NAMI walks next Saturday out at the band shell. Go check that out and be out there and show support because mental health does affect everybody. That is all I have.
Mr. Tim, if I skipped our city attorney accidentally, so if you wouldn't mind.
I don't mind at all.
I appreciate it. We are sitting here at May 8th. Ordinarily, on this day, I'd be able to report to you that session is over and we know what has happened. There's nothing conventional about 2025, and that proves true in our legislative session. Session was scheduled to end on Friday. It has, by a resolution, been extended to occur through June 6th, beginning on May 12th. They will reconvene. The resolution that calls for that reconvening has 16 enumerated bills that they can consider. Two of note for local communities is one concerning rural restoration, rural communities. Another has to do with the missing middle exemptions and relating to the Live Local Act. Those are two most notable as it relates to local governments that may be talked about in this special session, but there's about 14 others. The second thing I wish to do, though, is note that there are some things that have passed. Some of our fallen brethren that failed during the session that we were tracking closely, the sovereign immunity limits. There was an effort to increase sovereign immunity limits for local governments when they are sued in tort. Presently, your maximum liability is $200,000 per individual or $300,000 per incident, however that works out, but it's a 200 or 300 cap depending on the circumstances. That failed. They were trying to raise that as high as $1 million with graduated increases over time. There were some property tax exemptions that were proposed that also failed. There was some legislation concerning accessory dwelling units that certainly would have had some serious planning impacts on what you could and couldn't regulate. That also failed. As far as what passed, there was one bill on recovery residences that requires cities to adopt a process for entities to seek permission for recovery residences in municipalities. So we're reviewing that and waiting for governor's signature on any and all of these to ensure they come in final form. But should they be signed by the governor, I may require us to adopt an ordinance by a date certain. So we're tracking that closely. I'd like to spend a little bit of time talking about Senate Bill 180 that passed. Senate Bill 180 has to do with emergencies. There was a lot of attention in Pinellas County and otherwise on the response to hurricanes, rebuilding after hurricanes, and the challenges that are associated with that, but most especially as it relates to local governments. And to that end, I want to highlight some things that are going to impact the way we operate as a commission should it be signed by the governor. There was a lot of back and forth between the House and the Senate this year. One of the unconventional developments in this legislative session was normally there's a tension, or when there's tension during the legislative session, it's usually between the legislative branch and the executive branch. The governor wants some priorities, the legislative branch wants some priorities. A unique tension that evolved this session was between the House and the Senate themselves within the legislative chamber. And so there were competing emergency bills. Ultimately, most of the House language prevailed. There were some 11th hour amendments to Senate Bill 180. And so in its current form as enrolled, some of the notable changes in Senate Bill 180 is that it provides that limitations for impacted local governments following a storm. And an impacted local government is defined as a county listed in a federal disaster declaration located entirely or partially within 100 miles of the track of a storm declared to be a hurricane by the National Hurricane Center while the storm was categorized as a hurricane, or a municipality located in one of those counties. So if you meet that definition, there are some new restrictions that will apply should this be signed by the governor. For 1 year after a hurricane makes landfall, an impacted local government may not propose or adopt a moratorium on construction, reconstruction, or redevelopment. You cannot adopt a more restrictive or burdensome amendment to your comprehensive plan or land development regulation. Of course, burdensome and restrictive are not defined, but assume they are given their most ordinary meaning. So if you have a list of things that you allow in any of your land development codes and you strike one, that's a more burdensome amendment that would not be permitted, most likely. It also prohibits us from adopting a more restrictive or burdensome procedure concerning review, approval, or issuance of a site plan, development permit, or development order to the extent that those terms are defined in the community planning statute. Notwithstanding that, there are some limited exceptions where the associated application is initiated by a private party other than the impacted local government. So if it's going to affect a private property owner who wants to get something done, then it may be permissible. The comp plan amendment was submitted to the reviewing agencies before landfall. And finally, if the proposed comp plan or land development regulation is approved by the state. Your land development regulations don't get approved by the state, just comp plans. So that's really a carve out just for your comprehensive plan. Fun part in this is that anybody may file suit against you should you adopt something that they believe to fall within the definition of a more burdensome or restrictive land development regulation. Should they prevail, they will get attorney's fees. You can, on your own, say, hey, we're going to seek insight from the court in a declaratory action to find out if this is. Should you do that, your restriction will be put in timeout until such time as it is resolved. So another interesting development there. And then as well, concurrently, OPAGA, which is the Office of Program Policy Analysis and Government Accountability, which is the research arm of the Florida legislature, has been directed to conduct a study by the end of 2025, focusing on the impact of local government actions, including the things I just talked about, and how they may have, what impact they may have on construction, reconstruction, or redevelopment of any property damaged by hurricanes. In the language of the statute, it says, in its research, OPAGA shall survey stakeholders that play integral parts in the rebuilding and recovery process and make recommendations for legislative options to remove impediments to construction, reconstruction, or redevelopment of any property damaged by a hurricane and prevent the implementation by local governments of burdensome or restrictive procedures and processes. So that's one part of the bill. One of the other parts, for most especially in the coastal communities of Pinellas County, but partially here as well, there was a lot of focus on substantial improvement and substantial damage and permitting post-storm. And based on that, there's some new language in the statute that says a local government that participates in the National Flood Insurance Program may not adopt or enforce an ordinance for substantial improvement or substantial repairs to a structure, which includes a cumulative substantial improvement period. There's been a lot of talk about the 50% rule, and some communities, what they had was, we're going to count the 50% rule in a very, very, very reductive explanation is that when you are rebuilding your home or restoring or renovating or doing any improvement, whether under blue skies or gray skies, if you exceed 50% of the value of your home in doing that, you have to bring it up to current building standards relative to hurricanes and flood insurance, et cetera. What some cities and counties have is a look back period that says, we take all the repairs you did over the last 3 years so that you don't piecemeal it to avoid the impacts of this. So, oh, I did my roof this year, I did this, 6 months later I did that. So they get a cumulative effect. This would eliminate your ability to adopt or enforce that kind of cumulative look back period over 3 years, 2 years, 5, whatever the number may be. Additionally, going forward, we have a new obligation that by May 1st annually, each county and municipality shall publish on its website a hurricane and tropical storm recovery permitting guide, and the guide has to describe the types of post-storm repairs that require a permit and fees, the type of post-storm repairs that do not require a permit, the post-storm permit application process and specific modifications that you're making to expedite it. Suffice to say, a lot more disclosures, and it may require you as a result to be a bit more contemplative about what those things are and deliberate in advance. And on or before May 1st, 2026, each county has to provide an online option for receiving, reviewing, and accessing substantial damage and substantial improvement letters. Following Helene, and most especially Helene, but also Milton, several communities were working with various contractors to develop an analysis of the substantial damage and substantial improvement impact to individual properties. And in some instances, they were saying, you're going to get a hard copy in the mail soon. They're saying, no, I'm waiting for the letter to come in the mail. You have to provide an digital means to do so. And then as soon as reasonably practicable following a landfall or passage of a hurricane or storm, each county and municipality that's experienced a direct impact must use its best efforts to open a permitting office at which residents can access government services for at least 40 hours per week. So there can, even if your structures are impacted, you have to make best efforts, is the language there, to do that. And so some real changes out of Helene and Milton. These passed almost unanimously through the legislature and both chambers. So a real meaningful difference in the law. Another final bill that I'll highlight is Senate Bill 1730, which includes yet more amendments to the Live Local Act. And we're working, my office is working with your Community Development Department to navigate those, try and figure out what they mean, perhaps before the legislators even realize what they mean. But we're doing what we can to adapt. And of course, we'll continue to monitor to see what the governor signs, vetoes, and how this impacts this. But in the wake of any legislative session, our operations are impacted. And this is no different this time. So while there wasn't a lot that's been adopted, there are some things that have. One final note I wish to make, though I mentioned that the bills concerning property taxes failed, there was quite notably towards the end of session, the Speaker of the House made some statements that were some floor remarks concerning the discussion around property taxes. For those of you not tracking this, there was, in the legislative session, there were bills concerning sales tax as one way. The House side had significant cuts to what sales tax could be. The Senate side was just trying to change holidays and what goods might be taxed at what level. Another discussion was around property taxes, mostly through the governor's office, but also through some legislators. And the Speaker of the House came out and firmly said there's been a lot of discussion about property taxes, no discussion about how we would make that happen. And so he's calling for a select committee to research and potentially propose 5 constitutional amendments that would come before the voters. And so those 5 House proposals for property tax reform, all of which would require a constitutional amendment, are as follows. Requiring every city, county, and special district to hold a referendum on the elimination of homestead property taxes. 2, creating a new $500,000 homestead property tax exemption for non-school property taxes. That $500,000 exemption would be increased to $1 million for homeowners who are over 65 years of age or who have had a homestead in Florida for over 30 years. 3, authorizing the state legislature to raise the amount of homestead exemption by state statute instead of requiring constitutional amendments to do so. Item 4, enhancing Florida's assessment limitation caps for homestead and non-homestead properties. We could change the homestead assessment cap from 3% per year to 3% every 3 years. And for non-homesteaded assessments, we would adjust the cap from 10% per year to 15% every 3 years. And then finally, prohibit government from foreclosing on a homestead property for unpaid taxes. And so most of these are targeted from the Speaker's proposal are targeted towards residential properties specifically, whereas the governor's, at least, there's not a clear articulation of what that full policy is, but the public discourse has otherwise been eliminating property taxes altogether. A word of caution as we operate here in local government, nobody ever votes to increase or keep their taxes as that works, but that discussion is often had completely decoupled from the services that you provide and how those dollars are spent. And so should you choose to engage in the dialogue on this issue, regardless of your stance, my strong admonition to you in this process would say, okay, if that's being cut, what services, goods, employment, and operations are we prepared to cut as part of those same austerity measures? And so it's austerity on both sides. It's less income means less revenue, or less spending, just like in a family budget. And so that's something to be mindful of as a local government. While this may have a much more pronounced impact in some smaller communities, it will be felt here or any other community should these be adopted. Again, they're studying them, but the goal is to put them before the voters next year. And again, that discourse, that's the speaker's side. Who knows what the Senate president may suggest, or the governor may suggest, or whomever else may get into the foray. So that is the update on the legislative session. Happy to answer any questions or discuss it with any of you directly, whether it be at a department level or with you, the council members, but want to make sure you're up on the latest and greatest developments. And as session is extended and concludes in June, we'll be sure to provide that update. I know everybody wants to go home, but I love the sound of my voice. Thank you.
That's just what I was going to say.
I have a question for him too, so let's go ahead and do our rounds, and then we can ask Mr. Randy some questions. Go ahead.
You
Tim.
have good questions if you want.
No, it's all right.
I only have one. I'm only going to mention that, and they may have it on the list of upcoming events, but there is a career fair going on at St. Pete College on Thursday, the 15th of May from 1 to 4 in the afternoon. So if anybody's looking to change careers, looking for a career, looking to hire people, they have tables available over there for that event. And so I just want to mention that.
Thank you. City clerks? We're good. And just thank you for hiding your proclamation so we couldn't read yours. So, Ms. Jillian, what you got for us?
Well, this May is action-packed for events. So hear ye, this weekend from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. marks the final chance to revel in the enchantment of the St. Pete Renaissance Fair at England Brothers Park. And now through May 10th is also Hurricane Preparedness Week. With hurricane season starting June 1st, it's the perfect time to be prepared by checking your emergency kits and stocking up on those essentials. Saturday, May 10th at 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., the Grand Families Resource Fair will be at the Performing Arts Center. If you or someone you know as a grandparent, extended family member that's raising a relative or a non-relative child, this event's for you. The Juvenile Welfare Board and City of Pinellas Park are joining forces to share some needed community resources featuring free kids haircuts, health screenings, food boxes, hygiene kits, and hurricane safety supplies to our community. May 14th at 8 to 10 a.m., you'll have a chance to kick off your morning right with a delicious pancake breakfast at the Pinellas Park Senior Center. May 17th at 8:30 a.m., we'll have our fabulous NAMI walk, and we encourage our community to join us at England Brothers Park. You can walk with us to support mental health awareness and help end the stigma. May 21st at 5 p.m., we have the Community Unity Night at England Brothers Park as well, featuring games and activities, community resource booths, giveaways, and tons of fun with the Pinellas Park Police and the City of Pinellas Park staff. We were told this was a bring the whole family type of event that you're not going to want to miss. On Monday, May 26th, in honor of Memorial Day, all city buildings and brush lights will be closed in observance. And last but not least, I just wanted to wish all of you lovely mothers out there a very happy Mother's Day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. Just a quick note that beginning May 25th, the library will be closing on Sundays in order to provide more hours and programs for the community during the week.
Guys got your NAMI shirts on over there? Support? Chiefs? No? I know.
No. I got a question. Today's his birthday.
Spells?
Yeah.
Oh, Vice Mayor? We don't sing. We just say happy birthday to you and many more to come. You have a question, sir? Yes, sir.
Was there any talk on density on properties?
The question is there any talk on densities on properties? Most likely not in the way you would like it to happen. The discussion around live local and those, and also the discussion around, the language for more burdensome or restrictive following a hurricane, you're going to get more leniency than more restrictive. There was nothing that would have, there is some discussion around rural land. I don't know, even with some of our properties here in Pinellas Park, that it would qualify. I'm looking into that because it's not done yet. I'm leery of saying what it does or could or couldn't do for us. But there is some discussion about rural preservation, but not without that, I can't speak more specifically to that issue.
And I did have a question when you were talking about the potential for them to affect the way that taxes are done.
Yes, ma'am.
To have a reminder that they do not allow cities to advertise one way or another for something that is coming up.
Yes, there are statutory restrictions on electioneering, especially on constitutional ballot measures in terms of us sending out anything that you are not allowed to expend municipal funds on, an awareness campaign or information or, hey, this is the way that city would work on that once there's a ballot initiative. It's one thing when there's a legislative session, you're saying, hey, here's how we feel about this bill. Another one, you've got a ballot measure, and so there are limitations. And there was one that used to say historically that you could do so if you did so in a fact neutral manner. That was taken out in 22. I believe it was 2022 was the year where they changed the statute to just say you can't do it.
They don't do facts.
Right.
Thank you. With that, we will say that we hope that everybody has a blessed couple of weeks until we meet again. And it is wonderful to see some of the old timers that were here tonight with us and visiting.
Ouch.
He's gonna talk to me.